Greetings and welcome. Uh, my name is Mark Whiteman, and today I'm presenting you my AT3 submission on 5 key learnings and reflections of 5 elements around operational improvement, and I have a bit more of a deeper understanding. This presentation is a little bit lighthearted, so
And now our feature presentation.
please sit back and enjoy it. Thank you. Okay, introduction to the 5. My 5 categories. The first one is SWOT analysis. Second, change management in F1 teams. Management of resistance to change. Technology in supply chain. And finally, last one will be presentations. So first up, we have the SWOT analysis. Now, the SWOT analysis is something that I've heavily used for the last 2 assignments on the digital and non-digital gap analysis and changes. I found it actually very, very useful. It's a tool that I have not really ever used. I've used it once or twice, but it was under either instruction or duress, and I wasn't really shown that you could actually do this much with it. Without this SWOT analysis, I would be really struggling with the identifying the process gaps and having a good framework just to work out the reports on both digital and non-digital, and just designing the processes around those that were identified during the SWOT. It just made a really nice case that you could just build off on and work your way through. So I'm really, really pleased with that one. Okay, the second one is change management in F1 teams. I thought I might throw this in here because mainly I'm a massive fan. Secondly, I do find myself a lot of akin to F1 teams, especially with my cross-functional work that I've been doing. I can really relate, and I just find it absolutely mind-boggling how a team of 800 people can come together to week in, week out, create a new car, put new parts on it, do the testing, get it to the track, get the data on it, race it, and then pack it up and then move it across the world and do it all again for like a year. It's quite an impressive feat. The last few weeks with the operational improvement has really given me a really good, deeper understanding. I do enjoy the off-track politics more than I enjoy the on-track racing. There's usually a lot more going on off-track. 2 examples that I'm going to use today is the McLaren team. They have a brand new organizational structure which they introduced during the last season, the 2023 season. They have Zach Brown and Stella Seidel. He and Zach are on the same page. They did have a more of a matrix style that you'd see in aero defense, which they've been using after they tried this style, and it failed in 2010. They didn't have the key people in here properly, and it didn't work. And then they went to another type. They went to the more matrix style, and that was lacking in performance, not getting what they needed, what their aims and their strategies were sort of pushing. So they've come now and they've actually split it out into 3 technical executives, and then they've just run it a bit more of a silo, but there is good intercommunication between these teams because these guys do know each other for a long time. Some of them have worked together for 10-20 years, so they all know each other. It's so successful that Alpine, another competitor, has actually copied their format straight up to try and get some sort of boost in their performance this year, because they're now dead set last. The jury's still out whether that's going to be effective, considering that these people here, and probably even up higher, the actual organization head, like Renault itself, doesn't actually have a same pull. I don't think it's going to work too well. Okay. The other team that I wanted to quickly touch on was F1 Williams team. They have new senior management. They have a fellow over from Mercedes called James Vowles. He's been there for 2 years, I think. He's been very transparent and open this season. He's come out and sort of openly spoke about how shocked he was, how Williams actually still ran all its control processes off Excel, all the way down to like what was in inventory was on Excel. Like there was people, he said, just literally walking around trying to understand if the Excel sheet that they're looking for actually matched the reality, whether it be the CFM for the aerodynamics or where a part was, if it was actually here. And they spent a lot of time wasted instead of concentrating on performance and moving stuff forwards. They spend a lot of time walking around looking, a lot of waste in their system. He's just spent some mega millions money trying to upgrade all their systems and their processes, like their software and hardware, training, education, getting the right people into the right position, stuff like that. So he's basically went back and said, look, it's going to be 3 to 4 years before you're going to see any of the improvements from the current work that they've just started undertaking. So they're going to have pain for probably 2 years. But from what I see from the team, they're all publicly speak that they're all in line and they all agree that it has to be done. So that is actually half the battle. Alright. Embracing change and overcoming resistance. I've split this one up into essentially three sort of mini topics. The first one, they're all based off this thing that I read today. It really hit with me. I really enjoy it. It's actually quite a good little thing to keep in mind. It helps yourself as well as help others if you're in, depending on what position, if you're looking at internally and externally. The first resistance, I guess, would be the shifting sands. That's what we used to call our old office. The engineers would be screaming, the production planners are screaming, everybody's screaming because things change that often. What somebody will be working on in the morning won't be relevant by the afternoon, and we just called it the shifting sands. So even in that, there was still a rhythm, but it was a very chaotic rhythm. I was also a member of the CI coaching and continuous improvement efforts. Did a lot of war on waste sort of stuff, and I was had to roll out a few different processes in my 3 years at my old place. I had to sell up, sort of trying to get sponsorship from the management and stuff like that. And one of the things that I was looking forward to sort of learning a little bit more is change management and how to manage the resistance that you're gonna face. I have done some courses on it, and they talk about getting champions and dealing with them and then getting them on board and gradually working through people. But I have found that this thing here actually made a lot more sense. It sort of opened me up to more talking about the changes that will not be happening, like what will still be the same after the changes. It's good to sort of get that over and done with, because that still gives a bit of stability and stuff like that, and then we can sort of work through naming what could be loss, putting a name to it, and sort of having open dialect on that, and then we can actually be free to concentrate on all the opportunities that actually are there, rather than being concerned about what or may not happen. And the last one was just about force changes. For me, I've been through 2 redundancies now in like 3 years or 4 years. I always found myself trying to go with it and embrace the change, which is probably why I can handle the shifting sands a little bit better than some people. I'm sort of a bit more adapt. Some people are very structured and they just cannot adapt. Yeah, and I think that going back to that, people don't resist change, they resist loss. I think that is a very true statement of that as well. I think as soon as you can get over the grieving process of your daily routine being messed up and all the nice, comfortable job that you just crafted yourself is now gone, and you're going to have to start from scratch again. Once you get rid of that, again, it goes back to this. You can start actually concentrating on moving forward and seeing what other opportunities are there without being held up. Okay, IT, technology, and supply chain. This one is more a future me one. This is one that I'm actually looking forward to at my new role in the next 2 weeks or so when I start. I've been out of procurement now for probably 4 years or so. I've been more production planning and project management sort of thing, that sort of space. I've sort of been reading up today on the lean and agile supply chain and emerging and mature technologies and how they can correlate and how they can complement each other and how there's different stages, which I find pretty interesting. I'm kind of like around, according to the references I was reading today, probably around 2010 as far as integration into the supply chain goes. There's a little bit that's happened, but the new place that I'm going to is a global company. They've got SAP processes, which SAP system for ERP, which is a mature technology, which for me sort of looking at more lean techniques basically to improve that at first. But I will be interested in having a look and seeing just how their supply chain does interact with their IT and just what level, if the IT is an enabler for them, if there's any sort of synergy between the IT where they can become a capability for the supply chain, or vice versa, or supply chain can help IT. I'm not sure. So that's something that I'm really going to be looking forward to. I do know through the job interview process that they do have what they call VIM, which is vendor inventory management issues, which I find not great. I was reading, I can't remember which, I was reading just over the last few weeks about Ford, I think replaced like 500 accountants because they changed their process where they simply sent out an invoice for each purchase order at the price of the purchase order. They weren't mucking around with like 20 cents here or $2 there and ganking up the system with just real indiscreet values which don't actually add any value at the end of the day. So it'd be good, like if I'm there for a year or two, to start having a look at blockchain possibilities and integration into the supplier systems and stuff like that to actually move the financial thing along, because that seems to be just on the surface of talking to the guys, it seems to be a big thing there. Finally, presentations. I went a little bit out. Some AI art over here. I went and did some DJ music, AI assisted background music building. Learn how to put effects in, different sort of techniques such as this little camera thing here, these little things that pop up here with the sound effects, stuff like that, which is great because all my other experience and presentations and stuff like that, which is very limited, has always been bar charts. Very, very dry, especially if you're doing stuff on server fan lifes and stuff like that. It's very droll. The similarities are good. I have learned a lot doing these presentations because it's very much like what it is presenting to like a larger company where everyone's on mute, you can't see anybody. We don't have cameras just for security purposes and stuff like that. but so you just don't know if anybody's engaged or not. So I think that throwing a little bit of this art up and a few special effects to wake them up is probably a good thing. I don't think I'm going to do too much of it. Like, this is a little bit overboard and it's a bit overcomplicated, but it is only for sure. All right, and that brings us to the end. So thank you for your attendance on the presentation. Stay safe and have a good night.